Our next guest, the Commissioner for the Australian Human Rights Commission, which has just released its most updated report into ageism in Australia. What's age got to do with it? And as I say, we're joined by former Australian Senator Dr. Kay Patterson, who is the Age Discrimination Commissioner. Dr. Patterson, or Kay, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Kay,
thank you very much.
The bits I read about this, I didn't realise that ageism was so rife. Is that the biggest thing to come out of the report for you?
Well, I think two things that came out of the report, two major things, or not a couple of major things, but the two really important things were that 90% of Australians believed ageism existed, and 83% said it was a problem in Australia, and 63% said they'd experienced ageism in the last 5 years, and 65% thinks it's directed at people across all adult age groups. So I think we've thought that ageism relates to attitudes to older people, but really everyone, the majority have experienced it, and the majority think it's across age groups, and the huge majority, 90%, believe it exists. So that's really, I think, a profound result. And I think in my work in the last 5 years, I've seen this ageism towards young people, particularly in the workforce. You're not young enough to be a leader. You're not experienced enough. And in middle age, well, we know from the research we've done with the Australian Human Rights Institute, the Australian Human Resources Institute, that's recruiters and people like that, that ageism exists in the workplace. Oh, we think you're too old for the job. 27% of companies, that's gone down from when the late Susan Ryan, a dear colleague of mine, despite the fact we're on opposite sides in the Senate, we had a tremendous relationship, and then she was a great help to me when I first started in this job, and a great loss to us all.
Indeed.
She did the first study with the Human Resources Institute. 50% of companies had an age above which they wouldn't employ. That's dropped down to about 27% now, which is a big improvement, not good enough, but 27% of companies are reluctant or won't employ people over a certain age. Sadly, that age has dropped down. So it's even younger ages at which they won't employ people. So there's ageism in middle age, and there's ageism, as we know, in towards older people.
Well, I mean, they're alarming. I find them alarming figures, and we'll come back to what it means in terms of older Australians. But just more generally, how did such a professedly egalitarian society get so ageist? How did that happen to us?
I think maybe it's existed all along. I think it's the least understood of the isms. We know a lot about sexism and racism, but ageism, it's sort of okay. Oh, all millennials, spend their money on smashed avocado for breakfast. We never ate out breakfast out. We couldn't afford it. Or, or they got free university education. Or, those sorts of, or just jokes, oh, I had a seniors moment. So we accept that sort of joking about ageism, which we wouldn't accept about racism or gender. So I think it's a much more acceptable, sadly, more acceptable ism. And I think, the Benevolent Society is running a huge campaign called Every Age Counts. And it's particularly about eradicating ageism. And any of your listeners can join. People join and they can sign up. And I've signed up with a former Labor federal minister, and he and I have signed a pledge together to eradicate ageism, and it's absolutely fantastic campaign. We work in conjunction with them because as Age Discrimination Commissioner, I've got very limited resources, and I've joined up with as many groups as I can that are doing positive things in this area, and the Benevolent Society is doing a wonderful job in Every Age Counts. So I'd suggest all your boomers who are listening, go onto the website, look up Every Age Counts and join their campaign.